Sacred Harmony, we are joined by Peter Gunn, a US Air Force veteran, poet, and the visionary behind the Amazons and Sigma Squad. From a near death experience at age 7 to battling childhood obesity and questioning institutional beliefs, Peter's life is a tapestry of grit, spirit, and awakening. We'll explore how ancient texts, and inner fire shaped a mission to awaken the world. One story, one soul, one sacred rebellion at a time. Welcome to the show, Peter. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me, Anya. I appreciate you letting me be here.
hmm So, Peter, let's begin at age 7. Your near death experience. What do you remember most about it? And how did it shape your sense of purpose even at such a young age?
Well, go back to the beginning. Uh, Back then it would have been the early '80s, and my parents weren't around at the time, which was normal for that time. And I had been out in the sun a little too long. And of course, at that young age, you don't realize the signs of heat stroke coming on. So I had actually remember feeling like really tired and fell asleep in the sun, making the condition worse, thus throwing my body into shock and continuing to cook me, unfortunately. I had an encounter with an angel at the gates of heaven. Okay. And if you ever have the feeling of deja vu, or like you see someone's face and you feel them in your heart and your soul, like you met this person before, but you can't place it. I met an angel there that told me my job isn't done. I had to go back. I wasn't allowed in, basically. But when I saw him, I recognized him, but he couldn't place the face. Like, I've seen you before, but I don't know you. And that really shaped my life. I remember waking back up in my body with the paramedics over it, and um, it really shaped my life for the rest of my. I mean, every day I wake up with that thought, like, okay, I was sent back, but for why? There was no other no further explanation. So it's up to me to figure out why I'm here, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how did that early spiritual encounter influence the way you saw life or even death growing up?
Well, it what is with normal with most NDEs. I had uh, uh, like what do you call it? Like phenomenon happen, like precognition. I was seeing things before they happen. A lot of people have psychic abilities that come back with them. Um, it let me know that there's more to this life than um, people tell you. Okay, in fact, there's more to this life that that I mean, you could honestly live several lives and be completely unaware of it. There's it. My faith in reincarnation is 100% because I know I've lived before. I've had vivid visions of myself being at Alexandria, holding a sword and being there when the Romans attacked. So there's no doubt in my mind that I've lived several lifetimes, that reincarnation is real, and it's affected the way I look at things. Really, my main goal is to try to wake people up and help them understand that they are infinite beings and they have divine purposes as well.
Mm-hmm. And for many, an NDE becomes a soul compass. It sounds like yours lit a lifelong fire.
Yeah.
Mhm. So you also faced childhood obesity, something that many suffer in silence. How did that journey affect your self-worth and your resilience?
Well, I mean, I didn't really care too much about because children at that young age, around 12 years old, can be very cruel. I didn't care too much about that. I felt, I still felt that deep inside my soul, I had a purpose, and I knew that being overweight wasn't going to help me; it was going to hinder that purpose. So I made it a point to go to the library and start doing research, to figure out what I'm eating wrong and why, So picking up the books without pictures in them that have a thick layer of dust on them, blow them off and start reading things that are based in science. I soon learned that a lot of things that they preach today are, to this day, like right now, are still wrong, and it's a blatant lie about a lot of it is. So I would tell others that are dealing with obesity is do your research, find out for yourself. And everybody's different, so what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. But if you're going to be the best you that you can be, do something about it. Do something right now. Don't waste another day.
Absolutely. And was there a defining moment when you decided to take back your power physically and emotionally?
I think the thing that really woke me up the most was early 2020 during COVID. Um, I mean, I've always known I was different. I just let it be. I did the best I could in any situation, considering who I am and what I am. But I decided I needed to do more in 2020 during COVID because I saw how many people are asleep. It surprised me how many people were quick to don a mask, how many people were quick to say something, and yell at people and even like isolate themselves or friends and family, not go to gatherings and things like that. It actually scared me. I couldn't believe it because you try to think the best of humanity in the most part, but it made me realize just how asleep everybody is. Really, that's when I decided I need to do more than what I'm doing. That's why I started a graphic novel series. I'm still working on it. That's going to tell everybody what's going on behind the scenes of this world in a more affordable way or easy way to digest. Because a lot of people aren't willing to pick up a book without words in it, So I need something that could be to the common man and have him understand it.
hmm And transforming the body can often be the first rebellion against the weight of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm So you have served 20 years in the Air Force and lived with deep structure and discipline. How did your spiritual side and poetic soul find room in that environment?
Well, one of the things I did to beat childhood obesity was, of course, get to the gym. And I found bodybuilding when I was about 16 years old. And I fell in love with it because myself being a creator or a creative person, it allowed me to shape and mold your body in, sort of like as if it were a piece of clay, except you have to be willing to wait years to see results at times. And I fell in love with it. And it allowed me the discipline instilled to my life before I came in the military, where military transition that wasn't easy. The discipline I needed to do what I needed to do in the military was a no-brainer. It was something that I do on a daily basis. I mean, I was taught to say to people like, you could be mean to me and say whatever you want to be, but the truth is, I'm much more harder on myself than they could ever be because I hold myself to a higher standard. So, uh, any abuse that they threw at me or anything that happened in the military, I was able to deal with because of it. And I honestly, looking back, I would recommend it to a lot of young men and even women too. Uh, Health and fitness is a big thing. If you're going to be a worker of light and go out and help, you need to be in the best shape you can be.
That's amazing. And did those two worlds ever collide or unexpectedly complement each other?
I wouldn't say unexpectedly complement each other because you're automatically going to be looked up to if you're going to elevate. Okay, people are going to come to you. So basically, I want you to think about yourself as a walking, talking billboard because that's what you become. The more of the alignment scale that you grow, and if they see someone that's big and out of shape, the questions are going to enter into their minds like, okay, this might be a good person, but does he ever have everything handled? So not only the spiritual but the physical as well, because they do go hand in hand. As within, so without. Okay, that's what I always say. As above, so below. So there is a correlation. If you love your body, love yourself, you will take care of it. Yeah, I look at it as it's God's body. It's not mine. I'm only ready to get temporarily.
And it's rare to hear a warrior also speak in verse. It's beautifully contradictory. And your daughter's birth sparked the Amazons. Why was it so important for you to rewrite the hero's journey through a feminine lens?
Well, because the feminine, I think, is left out of a lot of things. When I had my daughter, I wanted to enroll her in my love of poetry, especially the epic poets, poetry of the past, like the Odyssey, Dr. Siffer and Beowulf. Then they're always going to be there. They're a staple in life. Whenever the library, has the need for it, they'll order more. Whenever the bookstore runs out, they'll order more, and they're always going to be there. But the feminine is completely left out of this genre. It's almost as if without saying it, we are saying that our daughters, our mothers, our sisters aren't good enough for the hero's journey. So I decided to do something about it because why would a young girl, want to read these books otherwise? Because like Beowulf, the feminine is depicted as a demon. And there's bits and pieces like in the Odyssey, Helen of Troy, etc. But they're can we say more as tokens in the story, and they're not based around the feminine. So when I decided to go down this endeavor, I decided to not only incorporate the feminine, but then to incorporate the masculine as well, and try to show the synergy that happens when the masculine and the feminine get together. They become so much more powerful.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And do you think the future of epic storytelling depends on reclaiming those missing voices?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Do you think the future of epic storytelling depends on reclaiming those missing voices?
Finding new voices, not necessarily retelling per se, but finding new voices, finding worthy voices, finding people that uh, embody it, and then can not only embody it but carry it out to the end. Because if you look at the hero's journey, it goes full circle, but there is an end to it. But there's the end result as well, though. Your inner growth, you become better because of it. A lot of people I know in like countries where arranged marriages happen and things like that, they're very protective of their daughters, and I understand that. But I'm trying to let them also know that don't deny them the hero's journey. It could be something as going to college in another country. That's still their epic journey. That's still them to allow them to grow and become better people. It's they're not possessions. They're people. They're humans.
Mm-hmm. And there's something revolutionary about giving the feminine its rightful seat in myth and mission.
Yeah, very much so. It's about time, honestly. It needs to be done more.
Mm-hmm. And Sigma Squad blends ancient wisdom with modern storytelling. What message do you want to your readers, especially the younger ones, to walk away with?
Well, I took Sigma Squad based off the ancient Gnostic Gospels, like the Pistis Sophia, where it talks about not only the spiritual and humanity, but also it touches a little bit on different levels. So there's a satanic entity called the Demiurge that stole fire from the God entity. Okay, just like God and Satan in the Bible. But there's also they talk about different levels of humanity. So there's Satan has his archons, which is his other demons, but then there's hylics, and then there's psychics, there's pneumatics, and then there's aeons. So there's different levels of humanity, and there's a lot of truth there when you think about it. Because how many times have you seen someone do something or heard someone do something that was so heinous you couldn't help but question if they were human? And that very much correlates to the like Dr. Hawkins' graph of consciousness, the map of consciousness. It allows you to understand why people act the way they do because they're at different levels. For example, if you have a person that's at the lower levels of the map of consciousness, okay, and someone does something to them, they're going to react accordingly to the level that they're at. So they're probably going to want revenge, lash out, start a fight, and try to get back at that person. But if you take someone that's elevated towards the top of the map of consciousness, they're probably going to turn the other cheek and not care, walk away, or bless them and try to give them love. And if you think about it, that's very much speaking two different languages. The person at the bottom, if they saw the person, the elevated person walk away and turn the other cheek, they would automatically think they're weak. But but the person at the top, seeing what the person at the bottom did, would have pity on them and hope that someday they can change and elevate. So understand there are different levels of humans in this world, and you have to learn to treat them accordingly. Really, I think one of the easiest ways to tell is the old shopping cart theory. If you go to a large store, are you the type of person that brings the shopping cart back, or you just leave it by your car? So, I mean, that's the quickest, easiest way to tell where someone's at, because only a person that's at the lower levels is going to leave it right there, not do something about it. They're not going to think, they only think of themselves, really.
Makes sense. And how can we help people wake up without pushing them away in a world that resists deeper truth?
Well, learn to make conscious everyday decisions about leveling up, about making the right decision, which is also going to be hurtful. So if you're at the lower levels and someone owes you money, let's say per se, okay, pretend, are you going to just forget about it and move on? Because that what another person that's at the upper levels of consciousness would do. Can you do it? And if you do it, then you have to repeat it. Acts like that, repeated every day, daily. And over a period of time, say 6 months to a year, I promise you, you are going to elevate your consciousness. You will change if you're making decisions like that. In fact, one of the easiest ways to tell if you have changed is if you look back at the person you were a year ago. You might have actually some disdain towards that person, and you don't recognize them anymore. That's the easiest way to tell that you changed. And I urge you to keep going if you're doing it, because it needs to be done.
And sometimes pictures and poetry carry the truths people aren't yet ready to read in scriptures.
True. Yeah, true.
Mhm. So, Peter Gunn shows us that the hero's journey isn't just a tale, it's a truth lived through fire, failure, and faith. Whether through comics, poetry, or spiritual awakenings, Peter reminds us that we are all here with a purpose. The sooner we claim it, the freer we become. If you're listening, maybe it's your time too to wake up, to write your own myth, and to rise.